Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Johnson with the ViaMonstra Online Academy. We're here this morning talking with Johan about a very important topic in an upcoming course, upgrading to Windows 11 using ConfigMgr and Intune. Morning, Johan. How are you?
All good. Good morning yourself. It's a lovely summer here in Chicago. Cannot complain.
No, not at all. So, why don't we just hop into it? Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself? Kind of what do you do, and how did you get into this line of work in the first place?
Well, I consider myself an IT guy since I was about 10 years old, but I didn't start to work with it until I was 16. I used to go down to a local computer shop after school and or high school as it was, but I helped them assemble a computer and they had to be deployed. It was DOS at the time, so you copy a floppy or two and then you were done with it. And eventually it became Windows and I kind of fell in love with automation and batch files, and that led into scripting and more scripting, and these days obviously PowerShell. So automation has always been a big passion of me, and to no surprise, when we do a lot of deployment of Windows 10, Windows 11, and even Windows Server, there is a lot of automation built into it. Nobody wants to sit and click, next, finish, and be done with it 2 hours later.
No,
So,
not at all. And I imagine it's become a little bit more complex over the years as well, where that's kind of become a requirement.
yeah, Windows is slightly larger than the floppy was back in the days, but I've been doing this for 30 some years now, so I like it. Love it,
I'm,
even. Yeah.
I happen to agree. Very good. So, what are you currently working on? What are you currently excited about in this little corner of the industry that we're a part of?
I mean, today we are obviously helping a lot of customers getting through that final hoop, getting the last devices migrated over, because there are very few organizations who are 100% done right now, even though we only have a couple of months left. And some organizations, they have more than a few devices left. And some organizations decided to, all right, we're actually going to continue to pay for updates for a couple of devices because we just need some more time. But my passion is around troubleshooting implementations. So that's what we're doing right now, making sure organizations are having the right tools and solutions, doing it the right way, know how to troubleshoot things when troubleshooting is needed. So that's what I typically spend most of my hours on right now. Windows
That's
11 migration project, basically. Yeah.
that's fantastic. I think a lot of folks are, as you mentioned, sort of dealing with that right now. So, on that note, can you give us a quick overview on what this specific course is going to help with and who it's for?
Yeah, the target audience is simple. It's IT professionals, people like us, sysadmins that have a job to do. And the task at hand is typically to migrate to Windows 11, making sure devices are upgraded in a fashion that doesn't interrupt the business too much and doesn't interrupt the users too much, and try to keep that failure rate down to an absolute minimum. Because if you don't do any prep work today and just push out the update, you're going to find that a lot of devices they may not survive that upgrade. But with a little planning and a little bit of preparation for that part, you can actually decrease that failure rate quite significantly from the default 8, 9, 10% down to a more moderate 2, 3%. But there's a lot of stuff that has to be done. And luckily, the platforms that we are teaching in this training, they are capable of doing that, as long as you put in the work to do it. And that's practically what this course is about, giving you all those real world tips and tricks based on 100 plus projects. Because when you do the same thing over and over again, you accidentally get good at it. It's hard not to get good at it when you do it at the same time, many times over. But I actually did prepare before we even scheduled this call or this interview here. I did put together a couple of slides for courses in general. So I figured I could go ahead and share that one.
Sounds
because
great.
the classes we have on the academy, they typically run, or the master classes, I should say, they typically run between 3 to 5 days. This one is 4 days in particular, but it's full day trainings. It's a mix of lecture demos and hands-on labs, and all the students, they get access to a large script repository. They get access to all the sequences that we're using, and of course all the step-by-step guides that we're using. And also they get a lab environment available through that week, and that one is also available for download after the fact. So if anyone wants to start to repeat what they learned throughout the week, they can do so very easily as long as they can find a PC to run it on. So sessions are being recorded as well. We typically make them available for at least a year on the Academy. So far, we haven't actually removed any content yet, but that's our commitment there. In terms of what they will learn in this particular class, it's basically centered around 5 different pillars here. It's learning about how Windows 11 setup itself works behind the scenes, so that you can basically follow things as you go along, and when things break down, you will be able to navigate quickly and find out, okay, this is why it failed. So of course, unattended deployment is a big part of this training, all the different sequences and scripts and modifications to unattended files and whatnot. It's being covered. You will learn a good deal about troubleshooting, as well as customizing the environment. So in terms of the ConfigMgr setup, there is a lot of sequences involved in that. For the Intune part, there is a lot of scripting, because Intune by default doesn't have a lot of customizations for Windows 11 feature updates, but it's not too hard to add in. And it's also fun to see, or good to see, how the community has been instrumental in providing more solutions that hooks in nicely into the Intune platform. So we're looking for a lot of best practices. We're looking into how a lot of other organizations are doing these upgrades, and basically learning from organizations that already done the legwork, so to speak.
It's a fantastic summary. I mean, and as you're going through this here, I've heard you talk about upgrading to Windows 11 quite a few times personally, and every time, still, it seems like a pretty simple process. But every time I hear you talk about it, I still pick up something myself. There is quite a bit to it, especially if you want to help keep things similar for your users. For example, update those drivers and all those kinds of things that you really should be dealing with.
Yeah, there is certainly more to the upgrade than meets the eye at the first quick glance. Documentation may say one thing, but then we have the real world where you simply there's a lot of things that need to be done. And it's not just Windows itself, it's also all related ecosystems like BIOS and firmware, not just the versions, but also their configurations. And of course, as you mentioned, drivers and other related items.
Absolutely. Well, looking forward to this course for sure. It's very relevant right now. I mean, I think I'm not sure if you'll agree or not, but I think probably the primary driver for this right now is we are facing a deadline for support now at this point. That's just a few months away.
Yeah, October is coming up quickly, and then it doesn't stop there, because once you get up to either 11, 23H2 or 24H2, that path continues. We have a 25H2 coming up later this year. So, and depending on what version you are on, that path is going to be different. For those of you running 24H2, it's going to be a simple enablement package. For those that are on older version, 23H2, it's going to be one of those lovely full in-place upgrades that we have to deal with. So, but we go through and cover all those details in this class. So, long story short, you will learn what you need to be able to drive Windows 10 to Windows 11 upgrades. And once you are on Windows 11, upgrading those over the years using either ConfigMgr or Intune.
Excellent. Well, on a more general note, as we wrap things up here, is there a piece of advice, or what is one piece of advice that you would give to other IT pros that are working with platforms like Intune, ConfigMgr, or technologies like PowerShell today?
Well, one of my basically every single technology recommendation would be to make sure that you have access to a lab environment where you can play around and test and do these things without necessarily breaking your production environment. That's one of the key tools. And it's not just for everyday use, it's also for learning. It's just a fantastic platform to have available, and we'll make sure to show you how to set that up in the class as well.
All right, perfect. And where can folks find you online if they want to follow you and your work?
Pretty much everywhere. I'm easy to find. Arwidmark, my last name is. There are about 10 people in the world with that name, and so far it's only one of those that are focusing on Windows 11 upgrades, and that would be me. So easy to
Excellent.
find: Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, most social media.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, perfect. And any final thoughts for those listening or thinking about taking one of your courses?
I mean, check out what we have available on the Academy. We have a couple of mini courses that we run almost every month. They are free to join, and then you also get a little bit of feeling of what it's like to join a class or a course on the Academy. Andrew and I, of course, we're running office hours every Wednesday. If you have any questions and whatnot, we'll be happy to answer, sharing news from the week. But yeah, check us out.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Johan. It was fantastic spending a few minutes together this morning talking through these things. And very much, as I said, looking forward to this course and hope to see many of you there as well. So thanks
right.
again.
Thank you, sir.